てる場合じゃない。ワクワクを100倍にしてパーティーの主役になろう。夢中になれるものがいつか君をすげやつにすんだ。の天日間空は晴れていっぱいおっぱい僕元気トラブルと遊べやんちゃボーイ We got power ドラゴンボールぜびっくりの塊を蹴り未来へゴールさせろ。平ちゃんの花を咲かせてみんなを笑わせちゃえ。いたずら好きな君が夢を競うだい。
Hey everybody! Welcome to the second annual edition of the Top Re-enactments! Now, before we begin, you're all probably wondering what was going on with this opening. Well, it's quite simple actually. What was going on is, this was actually supposed to be a recap of all the re-enactments I've been doing in 2013. Now, this year, I'm going to be doing things a little differently. Now, last year, we did a top 12 re-enactments, and I took every single re-enactment from ever. Well, this year we're gonna do things differently, like I said, because this is the second annual, and there's nothing special about the second. So, we are just going to be doing a top 10. That's right, this year is only gonna be a top 10. I hope you have no arguments against that, because you're gonna have to take it as I give it to you. Tough of maybe doing also a quick top 10 on the what if stories, but when I took a look at them, nah, there isn't enough of them yet. Maybe next year. Anyway, cue the top 10 re-enactments right now.
Number 10. In the 10th position we have a part 2. That's right, we have a part 2 in the 10th position. What episode could have a part 2 that now I'm doing episodes in one single episode? Well, that one episode is actually the 200th episode. The one with the Android saga that led to the Cell saga. And the reason it had 2 parts is because, well, it's simple enough actually. It's simply because it was over 2 hours, and YouTube has a 2 hours limit when you upload. That's the only reason why this episode had 2 parts.
Well, isn't that awesome? Right away in the top 10, in number 10, we actually get a special. Okay, yes, it is a part 2, but it's already the episode 200 in the top 10. What a way to start with a bang! And don't forget, this top 10 is only for 2013. There is no lifetime views. If you are looking at my channel right now and you say, hey, this isn't in the top 10, well, that's because you are looking at the most populars from ever, not 2013. I'm taking this straight from the YouTube analytics, and that's the only way I'm making my top 10 this year. So let's keep going with number 9.
Number 9. Bojack Unbound. Well, it would appear that once again, in the top, we're going to have specials and movies. Because just like last year, the top starts with that. And this year, it would appear that Bojack Unbound is number 9. A reenactment of a movie that was made quite a while ago, but once again, it's here. And oddly enough, it would appear that just like last year, it is still number 9. That's right. Last year in the top 12, Bojack Unbound was number 9. And this year, in the top 10 of 2013, it is once more number 9. Number 8, The Return of Cooler. Once again, we are with a reenacted movie. This time, The Return of Cooler. And this year round, it is number 8. And this says something, because last year, it was number 7 in the top 12. Which means that it has been knocked down by 1 position. So yeah, The Return of Cooler sure seems to have been a little less popular than it was last year. That's unfortunate, but hey, what can we do? Sometimes these things happen. You can't always have them in the same spot, right? We should just keep on moving and see what other episodes have been knocked down. Or maybe some of them will have a completely different effect. Maybe that some of the episodes that were at the bottom are now at the top. Let's find out. Number 7, The History of Trunks. So, it would appear that this one too has been knocked down, because last year The History of Trunks was actually in the top 5, and this year, as a top 10, it would appear that it's only making the top 10 because, well, it's number 7. Now, this is once again a special, a movie special, well, not a movie special, but a special because it's a special. And I am completely confused on seeing myself right now, but anyway. Once again, this isn't a regular reenactment of a regular episode. This is a reenactment of a movie, of a special episode. Wow, this is so confusing. I mean, what's the difference between specials and movies? They are both longer than special episodes. I mean, they are both longer than the regular episodes. Oh my god, this is so confusing. Maybe we should move on to number 6 before I get even more confused. Number 6, Broly, The Second Coming. Hey! It would appear that this time around, we actually have a newcomer in the top 10. That's right, Broly's Second Coming was nowhere to be found last year in the top 12. Which means I get to describe it just like I did last year, for every other episode. So here goes. This reenacted movie was not that difficult to do because it didn't require any sort of editing aside from that little flashback you saw back there a few seconds ago. But back then, if memory serves me right, we were still doing that Raging Blast 2 only thing, since we were not using any other games to reenact our project. I mean, to reenact the movies or the episodes. The only hit that I feel is missing from this episode is the one at the end that should have made Goku appear, because when you use Gohan special team move, he only has Gohan appear. Goku is nowhere to be found. And we all know that at the end of the movie, somehow Goku showed up to help his sons. Now, I'd like to get to a different subject. Somebody recently asked me if I was ever going to do Bio Broly. Well, to be honest, while I'd like to actually do it, I don't think this will be possible because I have watched the movie and tried to see what I could reenact with it, and honestly, I saw nothing reenactable with that. I mean, Broly just turns into a giant monster. What am I supposed to do with that? So yeah, the chances of ever seeing Bio Broly reenacted are slim to none. Sorry guys.
Well, so far it appears that just like last year, we mostly have movies in the top 10 for the reenactments. I guess we're about to find out if it's the same for the top 5. Go with it.
Number 5! The legendary Super Saiyan Broly. And I say that wrong. Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. I said that right this time. Returning in the 5th position is that movie. That is correct. This movie is a returner because last year in the top 12 of 2012, it also was number 5. which means that apparently this year it wasn't less popular than last year. However, and unfortunately, that also means that it was not more popular. It was just as equally popular as it was before. So I guess that the legendary Saiyan Brody is as like as it was. So I guess that we should keep an eye on it for the next year, because who knows where it's going to land in the year 2014. Will it be less popular? Will it be more popular? Or will it just be like this year? Only time will tell with us. Number 4. Super Android 13. Apparently this year, Super Android 13 has been knocked down from the 3rd position, because this year, it is in 4th place. Now, I hadn't noticed last year when I was doing my top 12, but now that I look at this episode, it would appear that when I actually did the reenactment restoration of this one, well, more like remasterization, because it's a remastered reenactment, it would appear that the beginning of this episode was a little laggy. And on my own behalf, I'd like to actually personally apologize for that. I never noticed this hiccup in the episode, and it's only now that I'm doing this top 10 that I am noticing it. I am sincerely sorry about that. Am I going to fix it? No, not really. Sorry guys, but I don't really want to go back all that way. Anyway, let's just keep on moving on to number 3. Number 3! Cooler's Revenge! Whoa, wait a minute. Did I just say Cooler's Revenge has number 3? Last year's number 1? Unbelievable! Well, there's not much that can be said about it, can it? Is there? I mean, what happened? Okay, yeah, I know what happened actually. To be honest, I've been following this episode very closely in the YouTube analytics. For the last weeks and months, it had remained as number 1 for quite a while. However, quite recently, it started dropping down. That's right, it is recent that it dropped down from number 1. I saw it going with my own eyes. It actually dropped a few weeks ago to number 2. And then, just a few days ago, that's right, just a few days ago, days before this top 10 had been created, it dropped all the way down to number 3. I wasn't shocked when I noticed this. I saw number 2 and number 3 struggling for their places. But today is December 31st, so I have to do the top. And as of today, Cooler's Revenge is number 3 in the top 10. Oh well, what can we do? There isn't much that can be done, aside from keeping an eye out for this episode and what's going to happen to its popularity in 2014. I mean, will it backtrack to number 1, or will it fall further down? Well, would you look at that? Last year's number 1 has been knocked down. This means that this year we get a new number 1. Who is it gonna be? Well then, there's only one way to find out, and it's to watch right now! Number 2! Goku vs Cell. The Cell games begin. So apparently it would appear that even though this year's top 10 is composed with nothing but movies and special episodes, somehow this regular reenacted episode managed to stick around. It stuck around because it was also number 2 last year in the top 12. How did this regular episode get so popular? I ask you, the viewer. Why is this one episode so popular? What makes it different from any other episode? I mean, there isn't that much changes. It's even missing a few things. I mean, when I already did this, this was still at a time where only Raging Blast 2 was used, which means we're missing the battle between Cell and Hercule, if we can call that a battle. I mean, all Cell did was knock off Hercule into a cliff. And who knows how the heck the man survived that. Anyway, it was time for number 2 before number 1. But now, let's go with the big one. Number 1! The Android Saga! Wait, a whole saga has number 1? But that means that's episode 200! That's right, guys. Episode 200 is number 1! Now, I know it was already number 10 earlier, but that was part 2 of episode 200. This one is part 1. Part 1 of episode 200 is number 1 in the top 10! Which means, clearly, episode 300 is winner! The winner of the top! Not only does it conquer the top 1 position, but it also managed to be in 2 positions at once! Only a true winner could do that! Isn't that amazing? Well, I'm impressed because this episode is only a year old. I mean, everything else in this top 10 was nearly 2 years old, but this one only 1 year old. In fact, this was the special episode that was done right before the top 12 last year, because episode 200 was created on December 22nd, 2012. And that's one episode that required quite a lot of editing. I mean, as you see here, there were a few flashbacks from episode 152. I mean, from episode 150 as well. Yeah, that sounded like I said 152, but you know what I mean. But it was also the first episode to include so many games for the reenactments. It's the first episode to have Budokai 1 used for the reenactments. It's awesome! But as awesome as episode 200 being top 1, this concludes the top 10. Thank you all for watching and have a good night.
僕たちは天使だった空の上から愛の種をまき散らしてこの星から悲しみ消したかったねえ広いブルースカイ見上げていると雪が湧かないか背中の羽はなくしたけれどまだ不思議な力残ってる To my friend 光を抱いて夢を見ようよ
Oh wow, but where are my manners? I nearly forgot. Happy New Year, everybody!